high definition from the CBS4 studios. This is CBS4 at 10.
Tonight, trees are uprooted, power poles are knocked down, and a roof has been ripped back. Even the Sun City Fair gave way to the powerful winds, just as forewarned weather predicted. Our team coverage starts right now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shelton Dotson. Patty's back with us on Monday. Let's get straight to the chief meteorologist, Sandra Diaz. She's in the Forewarned Weather Center with where those wind speeds topped out today. Sandra?
Shelton, basically the winds topped off the highest on the east side of El Paso, but we all had very strong winds. Now, according to our weather nets, our peak wind gusts around town anywhere from 47 miles per hour to 60 miles per hour for the east side, Lower Valley 40, and at the into the mountain gods, well, we even had stronger winds, but we are expecting to see those winds finally begin to decrease as we head towards tonight. And once those winds decrease, the cooler air will arrive. How much cooler our weekend is expected to be is still ahead.
Sandra, thank you. No part of town was spared today, including a West Side funeral home that was hit especially hard. CBS 4 at 10's Claudia Tristan continues our team coverage from Wrestler near Mesa with a look at the damage there.
I'm at Martin Funeral Home, where today the top layer metallic roof was blown over thanks to those gusts. You can see over here on this side, part of that roof is still laying out here on this sidewalk, while over here on this end, those gusts lifted the roof and folded it over up on the top. Now, we still did find some debris on both sides of the building today. I spoke to the location manager, who says employees were still inside when they heard a loud noise and later found the roof here on the front parking lot.
We had two different roofing companies inspected to make sure that it is eligible for somebody to be able to still operate the business, to making sure that we get a professional's point of view regarding that roofing. If we do see any, of course, any issues that we cannot officially do business, then we will be, of course, shutting the operation down until that is further corrected.
Luckily, there were no services at the time of the incident and none scheduled for this afternoon. A crew is expected to fix this roof tomorrow morning before a morning funeral service. Now, CBS 4 at 10's Thomas Hoppo continues our team coverage. He explains the damage the winds have caused in the Northeast.
Well, Claudia, it appears that the Northeast couldn't escape some of those damages as well. El Paso electric crews are currently out here right now working on some power lines that were blown over from the wind, but what's important here is that no one was hurt. El Paso Electric did tweet out that no one lost power, but crews have been working all evening to try to repair two power lines. They've stabilized the poles so they wouldn't fall even more, but one of the poles was even broken in half. Those lines even took down a couple palm trees in the neighborhood, and I spoke with one neighbor who was here when it all happened.
Oh, just sitting in the living room watching television, and also lights started flashing, also a big pop, a big bang, lights went out, but they came right back on. That's when I come outside here and saw the power line lying down, was knocked down by the two palm trees up the street there.
Well, it appears that El Paso Electric crew is just finishing up working on this power line, and there's actually another power line down the street that has been blown over as well that they're currently working on. No timeline yet on when El Paso Electric will be completed with all of these power lines here, but we just want to let you guys know that it is still windy out here in Northeast El Paso, but there isn't any blowing dust around. Reporting live in Northeast El Paso, Thomas Hoppo, CBS 4 at 10.
All right, Thomas, thank you. You know, snapping those utility poles is one thing, but take a look at this of a tree that has been uprooted in Sunset Heights. You can see it was absolutely no match for today's strong wind gusts. This is in a residential area. Of course, Sunset Heights is a very historic area in El Paso. Luckily, no one was hurt there. Lou Romano has a night off, but even he was caught up in some of the mess that the wind caused this afternoon. Lou actually shot this video at Cotton and Montana for us. That's where one of the traffic signals was blown right off the pole there. So the lights began flashing red. Of course, That makes that intersection an automatic four-way stop whenever that happens. The strong winds pushed back the opening of the Sun City Fair today. In fact, we only saw workers trying to hold things together at Escalante Park when we showed up there this afternoon. The fair's general manager says it's disappointing to miss opening day, but public safety had to come first.
Everything's secured as far as tents and rides. Obviously when the rides are moving, that's when issues tend to happen. But as long as everything's stationary, the wind, even up to 90 miles an hour, will be fine.
The fair will be open tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. and remember, it is scheduled to run for the next 2 weeks. Blowing dust changed the plans for some West Side parents today as well. We found a whole lot of them outside of Moorhead Middle School waiting to pick up their kids. Some parents told us they just didn't want their children to have to walk home from that school or from the bus stop while the storm was near its peak.
Right now we're just sitting in the car not wanting to go outside, waiting for my sister to come out so we don't have to walk down there, so you can just come over here.
I think that it would be hard to walk home in this wind, especially that they could get the sand in their eyes, and it's not very comfortable outside right now.
We often hear people like Sandra Diaz talking about low visibility on these windy days. Well, take a look. These photos paint a perfect picture of what she's always talking about. You can see the thick haze in the sky. This is out of far east El Paso, right around Vista del Sol and Rojas. Despite the very bad driving conditions, El Paso Police, El Paso County Sheriff's Department, none of them reported any serious crashes for the day. Here's also a couple of pictures that a CBS4 viewer shared with us via the Burst app. Arwen sent us this one from a golf course. Hey, a whole lot of carts available, but no one brave enough to actually take them out for a round of golf today. This gives you a whole lot better reason why, just too much dust in the air. Besides, even if you could find a way to get the golf ball onto the green, it would have just blown right off. Probably anyway, right? Remember, we love when you send in your pictures and videos to us using Burst. You can find it on the CBS4 News app via your smartphone or the old-fashioned way. Upload them from your home computer just by logging on to burst.com/CBS4. New tonight, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office confirms a body has been found in the desert. Investigators are not saying exactly where, only saying it's somewhere within the county. The case is being treated as an unattended death. The Sheriff's Office tells us they will not release the person's name until the next of kin have been notified. Also new tonight, Las Cruces Police SWAT team forced into action. They have surrounded a home near Espina and Bouts. They started this call at about 7 o'clock tonight. But that is all police are willing to say right now, is that officers are trying to serve a warrant on a wanted man. Police have not yet provided us with any more details. When we get them, we'll pass them along to you. Next, we're going to paint the town red and a whole lot of other colors as well. How you can help finish up a new mural this weekend that's going up next to Southwest University Park. He's the center of attention. We'll show you why UTEP basketball fans have reason to smile tonight. And out of jail, why one of the men connected to the murder of a Hatch police officer is now a free man. That and more next on CBS4 at 10. One of the men who was inside the car when a Hatch police officer was murdered last year is a free man tonight. Tony Jones pleaded guilty to felony drug possession. A judge then sentenced him to 30 months in prison. However, that sentence was suspended minus the 8 months he's already served. Jones was a hitchhiker who had been picked up by these two men, Jesse Haynes and James Nelson. They had been wanted for a murder out of Ohio 18 days before. Hatch police officer Jose Chavez pulled them over last August. That's when investigators say Haynes pulled a gun and shot and killed Chavez. Both of those men remain in jail awaiting trial. El Paso police have released the identity of a man who was run over and killed in the Lower Valley yesterday. The body of 55-year-old Gabriel Calderon was found at a car wash near Giles and Gateway East. Witnesses told police they saw a woman in a white or a light-colored SUV slam into Calderon and then take off. She has not been identified and her vehicle has not been found, so investigators could definitely use a little help with this case. If you think you know who that driver is, you're being asked to call police. An El Paso native who blazed trails for women in the military will wake up tomorrow morning as a civilian. Major General Heidi Brown served in the Army since 1981. She spent her last day in the Army back here in the Sun City. Brown is the first El Paso woman ever to graduate from West Point, and in 2003 she also became the first American woman ever to lead a combat brigade into war. Brown says her passion to succeed is what's pushed her for so very long.
Don't let somebody else tell you you can't do something because it's never been done by fill in the blank. A woman, a man, a whatever.
Brown says she owes a lot of her success to the teachers at her alma mater, Austin High School. Next, she plans to write a book called From Bliss to Baghdad. The worst kept secret in the borderland is now officially out of the bag. Congressman Beto O'Rourke is making a run for the United States Senate. This morning, O'Rourke made the announcement in front of about 100 of his supporters during a rooftop rally in downtown El Paso. If he wins the Democratic primary, he would take on Ted Cruz.
I'm not going to leave my family for 2 years, kill myself in the process, and come up 1 million votes short. So I'm going to be everywhere, listen to everyone, and I don't care if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, if you're an independent, if you've given up on party politics and government altogether. I want to represent you.
O'Rourke promised to not accept any money from political action committees while running for the Senate. He also says if he wins, he would not serve more than 2 terms. There's a new amenity coming to the El Paso International Airport, and it will make it easier for new parents to travel with their babies. That's good news. The airport is now offering private spaces where nursing mothers can go to feed their little ones while they're traveling. 2 nursing lounges are now located on the 2nd floor beyond the security checkpoints. Some of the things you will find there is a washing station, a diaper changing area, and most importantly for those moms, comfortable seating. The Durango pedestrian bridge that leads to Southwest University Park is getting a makeover. Right now, the El Paso Chihuahuas, along with the city of El Paso, are working on a project called the Art of the Game. Pick up your brush and paint. Neighbors are invited to a festival where they can help paint a new mural on that bridge. 2 commissioned artists have already outlined the mural. They just need you to put the paint on. All this is starting tomorrow, happening tomorrow, 11 to 3 at the Durango Bridge. There's going to be music entertainment that is suitable for the entire family. Next, suspects in custody. Police make multiple arrests connected to this huge fire that damaged one of the busiest interstates in the country. How many people are in jail and the charges they now face.
After a strong windstorm exits the region, we're in for cooler temperatures. How big of a drop in temperatures we'll see and how strong those winds will get this weekend is next on CBS4 at 10.
Well, driving was a bit of a challenge in the borderland today. Look at this picture that was shared by Rocco on social media. Visibility was awful along the interstate. Even the traffic signs, the big ones, were really hard to spot. Vanessa also shared this picture with us as what she calls the dust storm in El Paso. That's maybe the understatement of the week, Vanessa. It was even hard to make out the Franklins, though. Meantime, Brooke shared this picture of today's dust storm as well. Looks as bad as the one Vanessa sent us. And finally, Kay shared this photo with the caption, "The reason why I can never open my windows." Kay, you and about 1 million other people in the borderland today. The wind speeds, though, have finally dropped, and now the temperatures will too. Chief Meteorologist Sandra Diaz back in the Forewarned Weather Center. Sandra?
Oh, you got that right. We've still got our wind machine nearby, but you can see it's slowly beginning to move off to the east. This afternoon, it was centered a little further off to the west, putting us just right underneath it. Perfect spot for those stronger winds, but as it keeps trekking off to the east, so will the winds, but it is moving out slowly, so keep that in mind. Take a look at the impressive peak wind gusts from today. As usual, the passes get the strongest of the winds. San Agustin at 74 miles per hour, which, by the way, last week its peak gust was 81, so didn't quite reach that today, but I'm not complaining. 74 is pretty high. 61 at the airport in El Paso. East side, northeast side varied between 50 to 60 miles per hour. Las Cruces Airport at 46 as well as in Socorro. But officially quickly at the airport, here are the peak gusts that we saw. 46 in Las Cruces, as I mentioned, 49 in TRC and Deming at 55. So no matter how you saw it, we all had strong winds. I'm happy to say those winds are now less than 15 miles per hour. As for our temperatures, it was a warm system that's come through so far, but we've got colder air on the way, and eventually we are going to get the effects of that cooler air. It's slowly oozing its way into the borderland. Right now we have 46 in Las Cruces, 50 in Deming, 60 still in the El Paso area. Here's what it looks like aloft. We've got our area of low pressure, the cooler air filtering in behind it, and as this all shifts off towards the east, well, of course, your Saturday turns out to be a much cooler day, out of the 80s and back to the 60s. Once this moves out by Sunday into Monday, we start to see those temperatures warming back up with our next area of high pressure, but 50 is the expected overnight low for tonight. I'm glad to say this and this are no longer. We've got lighter winds overnight, both in El Paso and in Las Cruces. But as I mentioned, the cooler day of the two for your weekend, tomorrow, 66 degrees, then back to near 70 on Sunday, staying in the 70s through the week. But we've also got breezy to windy weather still hanging on with occasional gusts to near 30 Saturday and Sunday and Monday before those winds pick up a little more on Tuesday into Wednesday with another cold front. This time around, though, the winds should not be as strong as they were today. Shelton?
Sandra, thank you. Law enforcement in Atlanta confirming tonight the arrests of 3 people in connection with this enormous fire. It brought down an elevated section of Interstate 85 during the afternoon rush hour Wednesday. Hundreds of thousands of drivers use that stretch of road each and every day. 2 men and a woman are behind bars tonight, all 3 of them believed to be homeless. Investigators believe that one of the men started that fire intentionally. Eric?
Shelton, we've got a huge upset on our hands, and 8 El Paso teams, count them 8, are moving on in the playoffs. I'll show you who. And winning by any means necessary. What made the trip to the Final Four and why, I'll tell you. CBS4 Sports is next.
This is the Sun City Emergency Room Sports Desk.
You know, they say act like you've been there, but when you haven't been there since the Final Four was invented, do whatever you can to get Lady Luck on your side. Oregon's 1939 National Championship trophy made the trip to Arizona. Ducks and Tar Heels, Gonzaga and South Carolina tomorrow. You're going to see the games right here on CBS4. Pre-game coverage starts at 2 p.m. And we'll get to the minors in just a second, but first, a huge upset. An upset of mass proportion. I didn't see this one coming. Nobody did. Mississippi State upsets UConn 66-64 in overtime. We're talking about the women's Final Four here. That snaps UConn's route for a 5th national championship, and it ends a 111-game win streak. Unbelievable. All right, some big news for UTEP today as well. Senior center Matt Wilms has been granted a 6th year of eligibility by the NCAA. The 7'1" big man has only played 3 full seasons due to a seemingly never-ending string of injuries. But this past season, Wilms showed that when healthy, he's a special talent. Wilms ranks 9th in blocked shots at UTEP. He says he wants to put on 15 pounds this offseason while improving foot speed. Can only imagine what it'll be like then. Hey, on to some high school playoff soccer. We'll start with the boys and we'll start with the winners. It was tied at 1 at the end of regulation for Coronado, but the Thunderbirds edged Arlington Lamar 2-1 on PKs. Bel Air got the job done 4-2 over Amarillo Caprock. Moving on, San Elizario cruises past Wichita Falls Hershey. Meanwhile, Montwood starts the list of the less fortunate, as you'll see here, followed by Socorro, who wasn't able to get anything going against Arlington's Sam Houston. Andress had a 1-0 lead at half but couldn't finish the job versus Dumas. And these scores just came into us. El Paso ekes one out, and Del Valle proves too much for Amarillo. The girls had later starts this afternoon, so here are their scores. Winners first, of course. Franklin and El Paso both get strong goalie play to shut out their opponents. Andrus puts 4 in the back of the net to advance. Chapin gave Lubbock Cooper all the Lady Pirates could handle, but they lose on PKs, while both Burgess and San Elizario let their respective game and, as such, seasons get away. All right, it's time for our CBS4 Applebee's Team of the Week, and I promise you, it's sure to bring a little cheer to your day.
CBS4! CBS4! CBS4!
Mayfield Cheerleading brought home the blue. I found out that means they won state. Second cheer title in school history, first in over a decade. And they have a little message for the naysayers that debate whether this thing is really a sport or not.
Who's a sport now? It's a sport.
Injuries, just like every other sport. There's heart, just like every other sport. So we're definitely a sport. If you don't believe it, come check out one of our practices.
I've never felt such joy. I can't explain it. You feel this rush through your body, and then you can't feel your hands, and you're jumping up and down, and you're screaming, and it's the best feeling in the world.
Let us know if you agree with our Team of the Week, and if you have one that you'd like to nominate, you can email Lou. That's lou.romano@cbs4local.com. Can you believe that UConn news?
Absolutely amazing. All right, thank you, Eric. Next, talk about old fashion. A walk down the runway these models won't soon forget. We'll take the walk with them next on CBS4 at 10.
All right, let's take a look at your forecast one more time, and it looks like those winds are really lighter now than what they were just a few hours ago. They're less than 10 miles per hour across the entire viewing area, but we are expected to have winds still a little on the breezy side. West winds 10 to 20 miles per hour overnight, but a cooler night tonight than what we had last night, with an overnight low of around 50 in El Paso, 44 in Las Cruces. Winds here tonight are even lighter at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Your afternoon on Saturday and Sunday turned to be breezy to windy, with occasional wind gusts to near 30 miles per hour. We'll see more cloud cover on Saturday than Sunday, but it looks like if you're looking to be outdoors for the cooler weather, that's tomorrow, because by Sunday we are back to near 70.
All right, Sandra, thank you. Well, this is a reunion that absolutely no one saw coming. A cat named Boo Boo, of course, drinking out of the toilet, as you see there, went missing years ago in Northern California. Well, a couple of weeks ago, she showed up in Ontario. That must have been Canadian water. No one knows exactly how Boo Boo got to Canada, but her owner has a hunch.
Shocked. We're like, what? Because they called me on my phone and they were like, yeah, we're looking for the registered owner. I think somebody took her. I think she's a very friendly cat, and she used to love to get into people's cars.
Boo Boo was healthy, happy, but as you can see there, a bit thirsty. A bunch of senior citizens are showing that you are never too old to take your first stroll down the fashion runway.
Are you ready for the red carpet? Because we're ready for you.
That's right. More than 20 women and men hit the red carpet at a New York City senior center today. During the show, models age 60 and older walk the carpet in traditional Philippine, Chinese, and Mexican-inspired ensembles as well. The executive director of the center says it's all about celebrating beauty at every age.
All of the different cultures represented, and many have made their own dress right here in our own sewing lab, and they're their creations, and they're here to strut their stuff.
All the models were treated to the full fashion show experience, including having their hair and makeup done for them by volunteers right before the show. Which leads me to the question I'm always asked. Who does your hair and makeup right before you go on the newscast? Would you like to answer who does that?
Me, myself, and I.
You? Yeah.
With the wind if I'm outside, otherwise it's me.
Yeah, today the wind kind of did our dues for us for sure. Yeah, this is all us. I'm sorry, I'll try to do better next time. Have a great weekend, everybody. Patty will be back on Monday. We hope you are as well.
Good night.
Take some tips from those people.
I know.